Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to ask question 139/2017, standing to my name. The question is directed to the Attorney General and Minister for Economy, Public Enterprises, Civil Service and Communications. The Fiji First Government's $10 million subsidy for cane farmers is expected to benefit farmers badly affected by Cyclone Winston. Can the Minister explain why there is opposition from certain quarters? Thank you.
The Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Economy, Public Enterprises, Civil Service and Communications, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as you know, that government made an announcement last week in respect of an additional $10 million payout in respect of the fourth cane payment to assist those cane farmers who would have got their fourth cane payment. Madam Speaker, after Cyclone Winston, the government has been looking at a number of areas as to how we can assist the different sectors within the Fijian economy. As we know that there are certain parts of Fiji, there are certain members in various sectors of the economy who are affected more than others. And government has been over the past number of months, in fact over the past 1 year, looking at how we can make various interventions at the right point of time to be able to target that assistance. So in respect of the fourth cane payment, Madam Speaker, we had also been thinking about this for quite some time. We had, Madam Speaker, decided that we should assist those cane farmers who would have actually got nothing after the deductions from the fourth cane payment. The way it works, Madam Speaker, is that the farmers at every cane payment, they have various things that they need to pay for. So they have an automatic deduction, should they wish to have that automatic deduction. For example, for lease payments, TLTB, for the Lands Department, for the Cane Growers Fund, for FDB, for crop liens, etc., various other deductions. Now, Madam Speaker, what we discovered also would have been over 50% of the cane farmers, in fact 52%, would have ended up with nothing or very little as after those deductions after the fourth cane payment. Number one. Number two, Madam Speaker, there are something like 3,942 cane farmers who actually withdrew up to $1,000 from the Cane Growers Fund specifically after Cyclone Winston to actually help them get on their feet. The reality is, Madam Speaker, that we had a very low cane production, in particular after Cyclone Winston. And of course, by having a low cane production, because the cane crops were damaged, would have meant lower income levels at the end of it all. So we specifically went in, intervened, and so last Friday all the farmers would have got their cane payments. So those who had any deductions from the fourth cane payment have had no deductions made. And they would have got the full cane payment, which is about in excess of $10 a ton they would have received. So this is the reason why this intervention was made. Madam Speaker, everybody agrees in the excess of nearly 8,000 farmers who have benefited from this, agree with this, they believe it's a positive thing. Now, Madam Speaker, the reality is that there are some people obviously who do not necessarily like this assistance, and there are unfortunately many politicians. We hear that after the announcement was made, there was some group that's planning to have a march next Saturday in Vanuatu. Permit obviously has been issued to them. They'll be marching through the streets of Lambasa, we understand, objecting to this payment. Objecting to this payment, Madam Speaker. Now, if you go and talk to all those cane farmers, and who have received the benefit, if you say to them, you object to this, none of them obviously object to this. It's been politicized. There are some cane farmers who have not benefited from this $10 million payout as yet. Have not benefited from this $10 million payment as yet because they don't have any deductions. So if you're a cane farmer, you do not have any deductions, you obviously don't have the deductions made for you and paid for by government. But as we have also made announcements in that respect, Madam Speaker, and I had the benefit last week on Thursday in the evening, I was in Vanuatu and met with two groups of farmers. And as we discussed with them, we have, through FSC, we are planning to look at some other assistance for those farmers. For example, many of them, are very high yielding farmers. Some of them actually don't have loans. And some of them actually took the initiative to actually pay off their loans. So we have actually ring-fenced those farmers, and we are looking at various assistance for them specifically. So unfortunately, the reality, the so-called opposition from certain quarters, Madam Speaker, has been driven by political parties, or we have this wonderful article that appeared in Fiji Times today, very timely, Madam Speaker, how sometimes these articles appear in the Fiji Times when we know there's a particular subject is going to be debated in Parliament on that day in a few days' time. This is why I keep on calling this newspaper the Opposition Times. Madam Speaker, the reality is here. If you read a line from this paper, it says, NFP says to growers, these payments are like the Prime Minister's small enterprise grants and help for homes. So take the money government is throwing at you. Throwing at you. You know, this is a huge disrespect for the farmers of this country. It's a huge disrespect to say that somehow or the other, we're just throwing money at them like that. Madam Speaker, when we provide assistance, it really irks them. It really irks them. This is why you have, Madam Speaker, you have these shenanigans. When we had in the Business Committee agreed to this question, the Honourable Leader for NFP stands up to object to it again. Because he does not want this elucidated in the public space. He does not want it elucidated in the public space because he knows it's for the benefit for the ordinary farmers. And he treats them, and Madam Speaker, this is the reality. These poor farmers, Madam Speaker, for decades, Madam Speaker, have been treated like political football. Because every one of them comes along. I understand Honourable Prasad has gone around saying Penang is his trump card. Penang is his trump card. Why? Are we building, or maybe somebody else from NFP may have said it, are we building our political careers on the ill fate of the farmers? This is precisely what has been happening in this country, Madam Speaker. And this is why, Madam Speaker, they make lines like this as if we're throwing money at them. That these are some people who are lowly down there and we're throwing money at them. Madam Speaker, we do not see them in that fashion. We see them as very, very big contributors to our economy. Madam Speaker, we respect them, we will nurture them, and you will see, Madam Speaker, with the new chairman of the FSC, with the new CEO of FSC, with the new financial controller and chief operating officer, you will see, Madam Speaker, the strides and the announcements we'll be making, not just in the budget, in the next year to come, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. I will restrict supplementary questions to only 3. So can we have the first supplementary question? Honourable Professor Biman Prasad.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's quite hilarious that the Minister of Economy keeps blaming the politicians. But can he tell the people of this country that over the last 10 years, the number of active growers have declined by 5,764? Can he tell the people of this country that there has been a massive decline of 1.84 million tons of cane? And this is why we are saying, Madam Speaker, that the rescue package or the 10 million package is a band-aid solution. And I want the Minister to tell the people of this country why under his government and the previous government, which he was part, that we've seen such massive decline in the sugarcane production in this country.
Thank you. Honourable
The Honourable Member is the one who has the joke on him. Madam Speaker, let me read out some facts to him also. He knows very well. You see, this is what we call the obfuscation of facts. You repeatedly use that terminology in this Parliament. And he is an economist. He also knows that you can do selective pronouncements on various statistics. We can spin anything you want, in particular if you do not have your heart in the right place. Let me give you some facts. Madam Speaker, cane farmers have received an average of $80.14 per ton of cane from 2012 to 2016. This is the highest cane price by far for any 5-year period, peaking at $88.49 in 2013. Comparatively, Madam Speaker, from 1987 to 2005, the growers only got an average of $52.76. They only received $52.76 when in the past few years they've been receiving $80.14 a ton. That, Madam Speaker, is something that he has not highlighted. Madam Speaker, he has not highlighted that. Madam Speaker, the issue of production is not only about the competency of a government. It's also about other extraneous factors that exist in the cane fields. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member knows himself there have been issues such as expiring cane leases. We have put in place CIBUL, the Committee for Better Utilization of Land, where we pay landowners an additional 4% on top of the 6% UCV to encourage landowners to renew their leases. And many of them are coming on board. He should actually talk about the 50% of cane leases that weren't renewed in Vanuatu because of the policies specifically and directly of the previous governments, specifically of politicization of the cane belt. That is what he's not talking about, Madam Speaker. What he also needs to understand and talk about, this is what they don't talk about. He goes around saying, we'll give you $100 a ton. But Madam Speaker, anybody, Madam Speaker, who understands commerce, and I repeatedly say this, anybody who understands commerce will make a statement like this. Because you need to look at your cost structure. You can offer $100 a ton, which they can't. Reality is that they can't do that. Even if hypothetically they offered $100 a ton, if your cost structure keeps on increasing, and at the end of the day, out of the $100 a ton, your cost is about $85 a ton, you're only left with $15 a ton. What FSC has said with the new CEO, and government has also said this, we have said we are looking at also the cost structure in the cane industry. For example, Madam Speaker, we have looked at, for example, the rail system in Fiji. There are various policies and measures in place. We'll be making announcements in that. Anybody who knows about the sugarcane industry will know that the cost of carting your cane from your farm to the mill is far more expensive if you do it by truck as opposed to doing it on the rail. In Fiji at one point in time, Madam Speaker, nearly 80% of the cane that went to sugar mills went by rail. Today, only 20% goes by rail. Madam Speaker, that's a fact. If we are able to, Madam Speaker, look at the cost of cane harvesting, we have had an industry for decades. Even his lawyer who talked to the Fijian Institute of Accountants said the cane industry has been suffering for decades. For decades. It has been an issue that has not been addressed by many governments. So, Madam Speaker, the reality is this. We are looking at some fundamental changes within the cost structure, within the entire regime of the sugarcane industry. It's not issue they're doing band-aid solution by them and saying, we'll give you $100 a ton. That is what you call a fiction of tonnage for cane pricing. It's a fiction. It's trying to lure these poor cane farmers. They don't talk about cost structure. They don't talk about cost structure at all. We'll build a mill. What is the cost structure? They don't talk about cost structure, Madam Speaker. We will, yes, now you will, because we've said it you don't. That's the problem. We've now given you the prompt. We have now given you the prompt. You see, Madam Speaker, in this house, the intellectual depth is provided by this side of the house, not by that side, Madam Speaker. The intellectual depth is provided by this side of the house, not that side of the house. The reality is, Madam Speaker, is that the issues that he's spoken about, we are addressing that, Madam Speaker, in a substantive matter, in a substantive form. We will continue to do that. But I have one plea, Madam Speaker. Please, don't try and take the farmers for a ride. Don't try and take advantage of their goodwill. Don't try and take advantage of their humble being, Madam Speaker. They are in fact a lot smarter. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, I also heard in Vanuatu from the farmers themselves that some of the political parties are going around and now using religion and ethnicity as a means of trying to win their support. Madam Speaker, you see how they react? You see how they react? You see how they react? It is touching a raw nerve. It is touching a raw nerve. Madam Speaker, those farmers... Madam Speaker, you see, don't blame Honorable Bala for that. You see, Madam Speaker, how they react.
I know, I heard about it.
See, they're yelling. Listen to the yelling. You see, this is the drama. This is the drama. I want them focused, Madam Speaker, on how we can truly help farmers on a long-term and sustainable basis. We need to help these farmers on a long-term and sustainable basis. We need to be genuine. We need to be genuine about helping these farmers. Not because the election is around the corner. That's what's happening. You see, these guys have started campaigning already. They're on the horse. They're on the horse. Mr. Speaker, but they have to be mindful. Don't start the race too early, my friend. Don't start the race too early. You'll run out of steam. And in fact, I can tell you, you're about to run out of steam very soon. You're about to run out of steam very soon. Because all your ammunition will be running out. Madam Speaker, please, Madam Speaker, again the message to the farmers of Fiji, the sugarcane farmers, in this particular instance, related to this question, is that we do not want other people to come around and take advantage of them. A lot of them are a lot smarter. Unfortunately, as has been the case in the sugarcane industry, right from the colonial days, this is why many political parties actually had the genesis in the sugarcane industry, because it was highly politicized since then. It has been. And Madam Speaker, we need to break away from this. The Honourable Prime Minister keeps on saying we need to depoliticize the sugar industry, Madam Speaker. And the way to depoliticize the sugar industry, Madam Speaker, is sometimes you need to make decisions that is not going to give you the reward just now. They need to have a long-term impact. And sometimes we need to actually go down the road that may not be necessarily that sweet, but it will be extremely sweet down the trail, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, the reality is this, that the sugarcane industry is on a good footing now. We have some very, very good people on board. We have a very good chairperson now, very good CEO. I know governance is not your strong point, but the fact of the matter is, Madam Speaker, the reality is that we've got in train a number of policies. We have, Madam Speaker, recognized. You have prisoners cutting cane. They don't talk about the fact that many people in Fiji do not want to cut cane anymore. People have moved along. They saw it as a form of livelihood. They no longer want to cut cane. Madam Speaker, the fact of the matter is, Madam Speaker, they don't understand because they don't actually go and talk to the farmers. They simply want the farmers to listen to them. We know about the meetings in Reki Reki. They call all these farmers, only 4 people speak, and the poor farmers go away. Madam Speaker, the reality is this. The government provided the prisoners to cut the cane. The prisoners actually get paid for it. But if you talk to sugarcane farmers, they will tell you that cutters come, they actually, Madam Speaker, they feed them, they give them a roof, they agree to a price, and maybe a day or two before they're supposed to cut the cane, they leave because some other farmer has offered them a higher rate, because everybody's desperate to cut their cane. Government, Madam Speaker, found also a solution to this. We asked the farmers, please form a cooperative, we'll give you cane cultivators, cane harvesters. Cane harvesters. Today, Madam Speaker, 21 cooperatives have been formed under the scheme. 21 cane harvesters will go out to all these farmers. They're getting organized. It is a means, Madam Speaker, to also provide further mechanization. It solves and addresses the issue of labor shortage for cane cutters. It also gives them better pricing for cane harvesting, Madam Speaker. And what it means that through these cooperatives, where 21 cooperatives have been formed, we understand more will be formed, government is providing 1/3 of the cost of the harvester. The 2/3 is by way of a loan through FDB. These cooperatives are very encouraged by this. And they also have skin in the game where they will also be doing the repayments. And Madam Speaker, what it also does, it provides these cooperatives as a means to be able to roll out other technology that we intend to bring in the very short to medium term, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
I now give the floor to the Honourable Pinamina Hoka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, simply the farmers are saying, don't give us all these kinds of support, but give us a good price. And they've said something like $100, $125. Now, the farmers are saying that they were promised $85 a ton by Fiji First when it was campaigning in 2014. Can we get a reply in this house and answer, just simply yes or no? Did you promise the farmers $85 a ton when you were campaigning in 2014? Yes or no? Yes or no, do Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, I will give some form of credibility to that question by answering it. Madam Speaker, the reality is, it's not just a question of how much, like I have explained. Anybody who understands, see, again, did you say $85? Did you say $100? But can we understand, can they understand, Madam Speaker, it's not just about the price you pay, it's about the cost incurred. It's about the cost incurred. So, Madam Speaker, I don't know where the Honourable Member got his figures from, who he spoke to, what his sources are. If he can tell me his source, if he can tell us the time and the date, then he'll be able to be relied upon. But again, Madam Speaker, the fact of the matter is this. We need to look at the cost structure of not just the pricing of the tonnage per cane, but need to look at what it takes, what it costs you to produce that ton of cane. If you are able to bring down the production cost of that cane, obviously you get a bigger margin. That's how businesses work. Honorable Nawai Kula, he was at TLTB. Did he ever find out? Did he ever find out what the farmers went through when you went around with the former CEO of a TLTB in Vanuatu telling people not to renew leases? You need to talk to him. That is the reality. These are the people now who are suddenly the saviors of the sugarcane industry. They are suddenly the saviors of the sugarcane industry because it politically suits them. Because it politically suits them, Madam Speaker, and this goes to show the hypocrisy from the other side.
Point of order.
On point of order 60, on the relevance of the response, the question asked just for him to state yes or no. And that's the thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The answer provided was very relevant to the question. There's more to just a yes or no in answering these questions. And lastly, I give the floor to the Honorable Abdullah Kirata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Supplementary questions. Every time we have a natural disaster, it is likely if the farms are damaged that cane farmers will be compensated or they have some sort of subsidy. Do you have a specific budget reallocation for this? If not, where is the source of this fund? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, like any good government that runs prudent financial management systems, Madam Speaker, we would be able to source money from within the allocated budget for that year.